With us today, also in the studio, is an amazing gentleman, absolutely amazing, and we are so pleased to have him with us today, and his name is John Kriesel. And John, we appreciate you being with us today.
Thank you.
Well, John, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and we're going to get started. I'm going to read a little bit about your bio, and we're just going to delve right into this because I think that this is just you actually have an absolutely amazing story. Well, John is a young man. His Sergeant John Kriesel. He is an amazing young man who lost both of his legs in an explosion in Iraq in 2006. And when he came home, John actually had to learn how to start his life all over again. And John, I'm going to go back to that Re-acclimate because that's really what it's all about. Today, John works as a civilian employee in the Minnesota National Guard Marketing Department. He's a regular contributor on KFAN Sports Radio in Minneapolis and is an elected member of the Minnesota House of Representatives. John, and you have a book out today, and it's by you, but it's told by Jim Cosmo, and the book is called Still Standing, the story of Sergeant John Kriesel. Is that correct?
Yes.
Well, John, tell us just a little bit about your military career.
I joined the Minnesota Army National Guard on my 17th birthday. When I saw the first Gulf War on TV, I was like 10.
That's
and
amazing.
I saw that, and I said, if I could get paid to do that, then count me in, if that could be my job. So I enlisted the minute I could, spent my birthday going through the physical and all of that. And then uneventful. That was back in 98, That was kind of quiet times until 9/11, and then after 9/11, things changed. We started going on deployments. I went to Kosovo in 2004, and I went to Iraq in 2006, and that's where I was wounded.
That is just simply amazing. And I started to read a little bit about your book, and I know that you've actually won. The book has actually won 6 national awards. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
Wow. Right. That is just great. Well, describe your book. Tell us just a little bit about it and what inspired you to write it.
Well, going through what I did, even, going through it myself, there was times I'd be sitting in the hospital and just going, this is crazy, to go through this. This is, and people always ask about it. And so I figured, I think it would be a good idea to put it in writing form and kind of bring people through in the first person. And I met Jim Cosmo, the author of the book, at a speaking event because I go around and give talks to kids and stuff like that and try and inspire them. And, we sort of decided that we need to have a message in the book. And what is that going to be? And it's not that the average person's going to be driving down the road and hit a roadside bomb here in the United States or anything like that. What I went through was very extreme. But bad things happen to all of us, whether it's losing your job, losing a loved one, something as simple as boyfriend leaving you, girlfriend leaving you, something like that. And so it's not what it is that happens to you, it's what you do to overcome that makes you the person you are and the character you are, and it makes you stronger. And that's sort of the message of the book, is that, sort of to teach people the things that I learned without them having to go through what I did.
And that's a powerful message, John, for helping individuals heal. And your story, I read that you had died on the operating table 3 times. And where did you find the courage to really be able to help and give back to others?
It's just this sort of, I lost 2 friends in the blast, and when I realized that, when I woke up from my coma and found out that my buddies had died, I realized that I had the second chance at life that they didn't get, and that I better not waste it. And besides that, I have a wonderful wife, and I have 2 very special little boys, my 2 sons, and they wouldn't let me slow down. They wouldn't let me give up or mail it in. It's them that inspire me to be a better person every day.
Absolutely. John, how did you have the strength, though, to overcome the adversity? What did you do, because I'm sure people said, and they were by your side and your wife, John, you're going to continue. John, be strong. But, you have to have that inner strength. How did you overcome the adversity?
I don't know. I think a lot of it is having the tough days. I don't want to make it sound like it was a cakewalk or anything like that. There was many very dark and tough days and stuff like that. My wife was very patient and very helpful to me. But you go through bouts of PTSD and having nightmares and stuff like that of what happened. But realizing that tomorrow's a new day, and when I'd wake up that next day, I'd say, okay, this is going to be a good day. You sort of, I guess, to look at the big picture, just to say that I'm very lucky to have lived through the 200-pound bomb that I did, and my friends died. And so even on those tough days, taking a step back, looking at my wife and my children and realizing that life is good, regardless of the fact that I'm injured and I don't have legs anymore. Life is good, and you only get one chance at life, and you can't waste it. So I feel very fortunate, and after those tough days, I would just have to sort of suck it up and say, you know what, this is a new day. I'm going to make this a good day.
Absolutely.
Amazing.
It is amazing. And that's why your story is so powerful, because, it not only helps, veterans, people coming from the war, but it helps everybody in everyday life, because I believe that, and one of my true aspirations is to always tell people, no matter what, you can do it. You have the support if you want the support, but you know what, in your heart, just keep reminding yourself you are worthy, you can do it, it is your life. Go out there and just keep dreaming with your eyes wide open, John?
Absolutely. Yep. That's kind of what I've done since then, is just I realized how close I was to dying, and now every minute of every day is a gift, and it's precious, and I won't waste it. I think now I appreciate life more than I ever have if I hadn't gone through this incident, and I try and portray that in the book so the average reader can get that out of it and hopefully appreciate the small things in life,
And I think we all need to learn to live from those experiences and just what you shared. I understand you're very active in high schools and the community. What message do you share with them?
Well, that's one of my favorite things to do, and especially the high schoolers and with kids and stuff, is just telling them that, it's sort of like what I told you, to appreciate life and stuff, but I tell them I was kind of a knucklehead growing up, into some mischief and stuff like that. Nothing serious, but just screwing off in class and stuff, and having to go sit in the hallway and having my name on the board and stuff, just trying to get laughs and stuff like that. But, going through this, you mature. The military made me mature. But when you go through something like this, it wakes you up, and it makes you appreciate the little things and saying, you know what, you're never too cool to tell your parents you love them. You're never too cool to tell your friends you love them, because you never know what could happen next. And, just slowing down, enjoy being young, enjoy life, stop and smell the roses kind of thing. And,
right.
and sort of telling them that, those bad things that will happen to them, whether it's getting a D or an F on a report card or something, girlfriend, boyfriend dumps you, that's going to suck at that time. That's going to be the worst thing that ever happened to you, but you need to overcome that and look at the bright side, and then you're going to be a stronger person when you get through that adversity.
Yeah, and definitely doesn't define the person, and really sending that message out to our young people, I think, is so important.
And John,
Right.
I know you touched on it just a little bit, but I'd just like you to talk about it a little bit more, if you don't mind. Tell us really about your wife's support during your time, then and now.
Well, she was there from the start when I was still in a coma. I remember the blast. I was awake for the whole thing, and then they put me in a coma on the helicopter. So I was out for 8 days throughout my travels. And when I was in Germany, she flew over, and she was by my side from Germany to Walter Reed here in Washington, D.C. And instead of staying in a cozy hotel that they offer her, or, you know, on post there. She slept in an uncomfortable chair next to my bed every night I was in the hospital, and was there for the she knew when she needed to encourage me and give me words of encouragement, and there was times she just needed to listen. You know, when I found out one of my other friends from my platoon in Iraq died, it was a month after I was in the hospital. You know, she just said she said she was sorry, and then she just listened, because she knew that that was a time that I just needed to talk and get some things off my chest, and just sort of being very understanding, being patient, knowing when she had to tell me to get in line, because there's times that, you know, I mean, you're a changed person. I'm a changed person now, and there's times where she can't just sit there and put up with certain things. If I was freaking out or having nightmares and stuff, she was supportive, but at the same time still having to be a wife and put her foot down, and which also is important to supporting me. You know, it's getting us ready for our time coming back to Minnesota to raise our family and stuff like that.
Absolutely, John. And, you know, it's wonderful to have, you know, someone standing by your side there to support you. We're going to have to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll continue our conversation with John. Stay tuned. Well, welcome back, everyone. And if you're just joining us, we're speaking to John Kriesel. And John, I'm going to tell you, during the break, we were just getting goosebumps, and it was just very heartfelt, very touching, just listening to your story. And we just really appreciate you coming on, you know, being able to share that personal triumph that you had, and particularly, you know, the support of your wife. You know, it is so good to hear that you actually had someone to walk with you, lay with you, and just follow you, you know, through your mission.
Yes, she's been the greatest thing that ever happened to me, her and my two boys.
Well, John, one of our previous guests had really talked about the importance of having family support. And as you were going through your recovery and healing, you talked a little bit about the post-traumatic stress disorder. And what message would you have to other veterans that have endured similar things? What would you tell them as far as reaching out for help?
That you need to reach out for help, and it does get better. It just takes time, but it won't get better unless you get help. And that's, you know, I was fortunate, and I say that strangely, to have been in the situation I was in by being so severely injured. When I woke up at Walter Reed, they force that on you. They say, listen, you need to tell me what happened. And I didn't want to talk about it. It seemed like it was just 5 minutes ago. I just lost two of my best friends that I ever had in my life. You just don't want to talk about it. And that's kind of the way we're wired as service members, is just suck it up and deal with it. You get hurt, you deal with it. You fall, you get up, you know. And now, you know, when you're out or when you get back from a deployment, it's the complete opposite. You need to speak up. You need to say something. You need to get help. And, you know, a lot of guys feel guilty because they didn't go through what I did or what other people go through. You know, they didn't have visible scars. And so they're like, well, if he's doing fine, I better just shut up and deal with it. And that's the wrong approach. And, you know, like I said before, you get one shot at life. Happiness is hard to come by as it is. And
That's
so
right.
you need, you know, my buddies that I served with over there, they're my family, you know, I've told them, get help, go talk to someone, and they have. They're happy, they're healthy, everything's good. It just takes time, and it does get better.
Yes, it does get better, definitely, which leads us to actually to today. John, with you actually have a political career as well. You're an elected member of the Minnesota House of Representatives. Woohoo! That's awesome. Can you tell us about that and what made you take up politics?
I had some people talk to me and say, listen, you should run for office or whatever. And I've always paid attention to politics, but never really ran for anything. And, you know, let alone not having legs and having to go door to door. I was like, no, I'm fine. And the more I thought about it and I talked about it with my wife, she said, you know, I think you could make a difference. I think you'd be a breath of fresh air down there at the Capitol. And so then I was like, okay, well, if I have her support, I'm going to do it. So I knocked on thousands of doors. I used a Segway to go door to door, and then I would get off my Segway and walk up to the door, knock on it, and chat with the person. ask them for their vote, and I won. I was a big time underdog, and so it was nice to go in there and sort of mix it up a little bit.
That's wonderful.
It's been fun.
It really is. So, John, tell us about your website and how do we get your book?
I have a website, and it's www.stillstandingstory.com. That's where people can read the first chapter, the foreword, and the first chapter of the book for free, and that describes the incident I was in, the blast, what it was like, and all of that. And the book is available on there. It's also available on Amazon.com and any of those, but it's now available on all 7 ebook reader formats, and the title of the book is Still Standing, the Story of Staff Sergeant John Kriesel. I'm very proud of how it turned out.
Absolutely. It's definitely and I read some of the passages. It's absolutely fantastic. So, John, I just want to sum it up. And just a sentence or two, what do you want to tell, the men and women out there that are on their way home?
This country is great because of people like them that stand up and fight for what's right and our way of life, and we wouldn't have the freedom we have if it wasn't for them. And also on the flip side, people like you and the citizens of this country that are so supportive of us are truly what make this country worth fighting for. And I'm proud to have been able to stand up and fight.
And that's awesome, John. And we have a lot of gratitude, towards you and your family and your service. And we just really appreciate you. Well, thank you very much for being on the show. And I'm sure that we'll be in touch. Thanks, John.
Thanks. Take care.
God bless you.